what in the heck is a meaningful revolution? And why do I believe everyone needs to join and find their personal meaningful revolution? Well, the meaningful revolution is a movement that helps people discover, develop, and deploy their creative works out into the world, their goodness, their force of change. And that could be seasoned authors, podcasters, YouTubers, or other creative folks that dream of a better life for us, or people that are in their day job that know deep in their heart they're supposed to be doing something different. And they're trying to figure out how they can dare to change the world through their unique voice. So I'm Shawn Butner. I'm the host of the Meaningful Revolution podcast, and I'm a certified high performance coach that's been helping creators find their performance edge since 2015. I'm a former Apple engineer, so I know the professional creative part of making code. And I left a dream job and a job that I was very passionate about to work on something more fulfilling, I was more passionate about, honestly. And that's helping others with their personal development as they make moves to change the world. So in this episode of the Meaningful Revolution podcast, you'll learn exactly what is a meaningful revolution, why you need your personal meaningful revolution, what does it look like, what does it feel like, and then the 5 components that any movement of meaning, personal revolution or otherwise, needs to have in order to create, that feeling of connectedness, of confidence, of impact in the world through your creative works. So with that, let's get into the episode. Hey there, aspiring entrepreneurs. Are you ready to take your business idea or mission to the next level? It can be overwhelming and costly to juggle 100 different tools to operate your online business. So let me introduce to you Kajabi, the all-in-one platform that I use to run my podcast, promote my coaching services, do email marketing, website, blog, and more. So Kajabi has everything you need from website hosting to payment processing, and you can build a business that's responsive and agile to market demands. Plus, Kajabi offers excellent 24/7 customer support that I've used exclusively in my years of using this platform. It's great. I love it. And a supportive online community of over 25,000 members, along with access to live and on-demand trainings. There's tons and tons of support in the Kajabi community. I personally use Kajabi and love how it simplifies running my business and podcast. And it's helped me save time to focus on what really matters, creating value for you and the podcast and my coaching clients. So if you're ready to take your business to the next level, go to www.shawnbutner.com/Kajabi to sign up for a free 30-day trial. Now, this is an affiliate link, so if you use my link as a special bonus, you'll get a free 1-hour high-performance strategy session where we'll go over your goals for your trial. We'll help you get clear on what you're going after, keep motivated through the 30 days so you can maximize the impact of this free trial. I know that you can do this. You got this. In the strategy session, all the support of Kajabi, the amazing all-in-one platform, is everything you need to get started or to amplify what you're already doing digitally. So with that said, let's get back to the episode. In 2019, I left a job that I absolutely loved to produce something I was even more passionate about, and that's coaching. I wanted to work on and focus on something that I felt was more fulfilling and more rewarding and was less technical than the stuff I was doing. In 2019, I left Apple as a software engineer. And the plan to make that move started probably in 2017. It involved a lot of second guessing, a lot of hemming and hawing. The perks of the job were great. It was interesting work. It was work that mattered to a lot of people, that touched a lot of people's lives directly. You could see that out in the world. And if I didn't love coaching as much as I did, it was the perfect job. And because I loved coaching more than being a software engineer, that meant that my life was comfortable. it meant that I was settling in a way, right? And Steve Jobs has a famous phrase of saying, if you find something you love, pursue it with your whole being. And so I knew that starting a business would be really difficult. And I knew that I didn't want to always have this regret in the back of my head that I did the thing that was safe versus the thing that was great or the thing that I thought I could figure out and build something a little bit more personal and a little bit more impactful. And so 2019, I left that corporate gig. And this is exactly what a meaningful revolution is. It's focusing on what lights you up inside in your personal health, career, and wellness goals in order to live and do more meaningful things every day. So, because of that job at Apple, I was commuting like 4 hours a day, which is insane. It was impacting my health. It was impacting my relationships with friends and my wife because I was always exhausted because of the commute plus long hours at the job. And then always trying to work on the coaching business when I could, and I did that for 4 years while I was at Apple. And my, personal fulfillment, the health goals, the wellness goals or my mental health and just feeling connected with people or believing in the work I was doing all weren't as uh, joyful, as poppy, as vibrant as I wanted it to be. And so I made that decision. And so I think that the people that listen to the Meaningful Revolution are people that want to serve and want to have that greater impact with others, right? And they do that through writing books or doing YouTube channels or podcasts or other types of creative work. And you know, um, and I also think there are people that listen to this that are like I was, that had a main job and they're doing a side hustle. They're trying to figure out, what do I really want to do with my life? What do I want to focus on and figure out? And then I think there's folks that are feeling like they're in a rut or they're feeling restless and they don't know why. And it's because they're feeling comfortable like I did. And they want to start creating something that connects people, that furthers their creative idea or furthers a cause that they're very passionate about. And so, yeah, the Meaningful Revolution as it's evolved in the last 2 years of this show is that how do you wake up and feel excited for the day? Feel joyful for the work that you're doing, feel confident in the work that you're doing, or feel like you're in the flow. You're doing the work and making progress and steady progress at the rate that you'd like. And so that's to me is the Meaningful Revolution. Is how do you create and do meaningful action in your personal life, your health, your career, and your overall wellness. And I think the people that decide to quit their job to focus on their business or creating a business or building the lifestyle that they want are revolutionary. They're going against the grain of what you're told, which is to go to school, get a good job, take care of your family, save up some money and retire, right? And that's a great life. I'm not by any means that would be super great. Um, and I'm not dissing it, but at the same time, like there are people too that know that we can have a greater impact, that we can change how things are done or define that and go against that kind of set path for us to be able to do the things that we want to do. There's a little bit of freedom behind it. It's a little bit of um, really finding what you connect with and making big changes, right? And choosing the hard way, right? Not settling for what's comfortable, but knowing that it's going to be a struggle, that you're going to need to enlist people along the way. You're going to need to get into a community of people that are striving to create meaning. And if we get enough people that are creating meaningful jobs for themselves and in their companies, we can have a huge positive impact on society, right? If we had more small businesses hiring people, I think that's a better environment. And I can get into the philosophy of this, but I think smaller companies are better for communities because a lot of times the people are from that community. So, um, yeah, so this is a show for people that kind of go against that grain. And I think what we're fighting for is to feel connected to our lives every day. And it's not just in our career or creative work, but again, in our health. Are we feeling energetic? Are we feeling excited? Are we feeling spiritually, emotionally, intellectually charged in our day to day? Are we, um, I think the meaningful revolution stands for uh, um, not settling for abuse or settling for busy work or settling for things that are not helping us grow as humans and helping us connect as humans. I think what we're fighting against is that like sense of ennui or that sense of, going through the motions every day. I think we want people that are highly passionate about their work and will nerd out about it to no end and wants to share and help people along that process. I think we are fighting for or against burnout in a lot of ways, right? This hustler culture that says you should sacrifice everything for an organization and not have enough for yourself. I really want people to see the connection every day. What is a meaningful output? It's I show up and do my workout in the morning and I get healthier. I see it in reflections of the way that I look, in the way I feel about myself, and also in maybe the weight scale or the amount of stuff you can lift. That's a very meaningful connection versus getting, 3 pages of tasks that you check off that really don't help any project. You don't see how it impacts people's lives. You don't really see how it's making a difference. And I think, again, going back to like the smaller organization type thing, I think you could see that connection much clearer when you're closer to your effort and the result that you're trying to get out in the world. I think we're fighting against short attention spans or also kind of like just if you're a content creator or a creator or any of that type of like fluff that's out there that is not meaningful, right? Maybe it's good great for engagement or getting people to click on your news article or your podcast episode, but this it's against this like outrage culture in that we want people that are focused on what they love about the world, how they're helping each other, and not the things that divide us, which is very easy to fall in, especially when you're struggling, right? And I can speak for this for myself in that I fight that in my business all the time. The advice to have scandalous headlines or take controversial positions, um, which I don't think inherently are bad, but I think if the whole goal is to work people up so that they buy your thing, that is a bad idea for society, for community, for public discourse, for good citizenship. This kind of goes against the grain for my ideal of that. So, second thing we wanted to talk about today is why do you need a meaningful revolution? And like, this is such a broad category. It could be that you don't. Like, there's a good chance you're like, my life is great. I'm very stoked about it. I'm able to have those meaningful outputs in every area of my life. And, I feel like I'm growing as a person and you're fine, right? You're already living the meaningful revolution. You don't need to start something new or you don't need to define it in that way, right? And I hear you on that. And there's so many of the people I've coached. There's so many folks that I've worked with. There's so many folks that, I've encountered, and friends and family that are so dissatisfied with their life. There's a deep seated, like, I should be doing something different. I should be doing something that matters or something that is more useful, Um, or I want to be there for my family instead of just providing, right? And so part of why you need a meaningful revolution, or you need to join the meaningful revolution, is to get into community and to get into support, right? It's much easier to choose this hard way of maybe building a business or putting yourself out there to the internet or trying to sell a certain amount of books. And that's hard. And you need to be around people that have done it or that can help you keep going with your art. And I think that's such a great thing. Um, and I think too that if you don't feel super confident in everything that you're doing, you don't feel that sense of connection and joy every day when you wake up, get out of bed, you're like, I am so lucky I get to do this. I'm so lucky I get to help people in this way. I'm so lucky that the work that I'm doing is helping shift the discourse of the world in this particular way from my point of view, from my unique gift. Excuse me. And so I think that is extremely powerful. And when you can define, what is meaningful in your life very clearly, and you have the energy to make it happen, and you are actively taking steps towards it, that and it doesn't have to be every part of your life is aligned. Of course, you want everything in your life to be aligned, but if you are working a job to help take care of your family and you have a side project that really gets you excited, or, you barbecue with your neighbors and you get really focused on making that the best barbecue you can, right? This is my COVID project. This is why I'm talking about barbecue right now with a couple of my buddies. Um, that could be something that you look forward to, and the things that you do support that hobby or that thing that you really enjoy at a very deep level. So, that's why I think everyone should have a meaningful revolution, something that they're striving for, something that lights them up, lets them feel alive, or that they're really directing and guiding the course of their life versus going with the flow and being comfortable, right? So what does a meaningful revolution look like, right? If you were to take a look at, a Brendan Burchard or Tony Robbins, they have a sense of fulfillment in their lives. They have a great life work mix, which is not balance, but it's a place where they work on the stuff that they want to work on. It's meaningful, it's impactful. They have the other parts of their life, they're able to work out, they're able to maintain their health, they're able to maintain their important relationships. And they have the impact and the sense that they are making a difference in the world, right? And so I think these are just four very basic things of a meaningful relation. Are you fulfilled? Are you happy with your life work mix where you're hitting all those big goals we talked about at the top of the episode? Are you having the impact you want? And do you feel like you're able to influence and change the world around you, right? And so if you have yes on all those, you're living the meaningful revolution. You are part of the meaningful revolution. You are able to create that change and impact in the world. And that's great. And if you're not, that's also fine too. If you are, and we're going to get to this a little bit later, so stay tuned on 5 areas of a meaningful revolution, things that you can control that'll help you feel more fulfillment, help improve your life work mix, help improve your impact and that sense of influence out there in the world. Right. Okay. So what does a meaningful revolution feel like, right? It feels like a certain sense of like confidence and certainty in your day that you're doing the work you're put here to do. So there's kind of a spiritual connection type thing there, tied with boldness. So you're taking action on those meaningful, um, you're taking meaningful action to help put your vision out in the world. It feels like you are really joyful, right? You're again excited to get out of bed. The work that you do, it might be tough. It might be a roller coaster. At the end of the day, you're like, I'm so glad I had a chance to do this today and to make a difference out in the world. And it's consuming. It might get into a flow state. You might have the sense of like presence, of that you're in the moment, and you're able to strategically, like, when I'm working, I'm working. When I'm with the family, I'm with the family. When I'm working out, I'm working out. And you don't have a lot of bleeding over or regrets or, um, again, you're like in the flow in each of these areas of your life, and it's very seamless, right? Okay, then finally, we're going to talk about how to start your personal meaningful revolution, right? All high performing creators or high performing people have a focus on these 5 areas. The first is clarity. They are clear on who they are, what their values are, what they're doing out in the world to exemplify those values, and clear on their goals in each of the areas of their life. And it's so important. A lot of the work I've been doing for this podcast the last year has been trying to this episode is trying to clearly define the meaningful revolution. As I talk about this, I'm still finding things where I'm like, it feels a little squishy. It feels like I'm still trying to figure it out. And the truth about clarity is you find it through doing, right? There's a lot you can do by thinking through things, but the rubber meets the road is when you do an action. You do something like an episode trying to explain clearly the idea for your show in a long form episode like this, and how that feels when you express it, and then following up with people and like, hey, what did you think about this? Did this make sense to you? And so, um, and I'm a thinker, right? I'm someone that will get caught in my head all the time. And I know when I get stressed out. I know when I feel like I'm playing small. I know when I feel like a bit restless. I need to just make a decision, try it out, and then see if that changes how I think about the thing, right? If I get more clear or less clear on it. And if you're getting more clear, you're on the right path. If it makes you more confused after doing it, um, you're moving in the wrong direction. You need to do something else, right? So, clarity through action. Um, Second part that all high performers focus on, creators or the like, is their energy. Do they have energetic enthusiasm for what they're doing? Do they have the physical energy they need to go out and do the things that they need to do? Do they have the emotional energy to hold space for people? Do they have the spiritual energy to feel connected to something greater as they're working through and building their meaningful life? And so there's so many different factors that come into this, but a lot of it comes down to physical. Are you drinking water? Are you sleeping? Are you eating nutritious foods? Are you getting outside and moving? Yada, yada, yada. But, are you able to summon and create the energy you need to manifest your meaningful tasks every day? Right. Third thing all high performing creators do is they focus on, having the courage to take bold action towards their thing, right? And having the confidence to start, to continue and persist through uncertainty, and to ultimately keep trying until they figure it out, until they win, right? And so part of it is curiosity. Like, it can be very courageous to be like, I wonder if this is going to work. And then it doesn't work. And you're like, okay, that doesn't work. Let me try something different. Could be a little bit of naivety. Sometimes you don't realize how tough things are going to be. But at the end of the day, you have to be, again, in action to get clear on stuff. When you take action, you build some momentum so you can have a little bit of energy that comes from it. And ultimately, it if you're taking bold action towards your dreams or towards your meaningful outputs and it doesn't feel right, it's either, you'll know if it's like, oh, this isn't important, it's not getting results, maybe shift it, or this is close to what I need to be doing, but not quite, and so there's an art, and sometimes you need to hire a coach or you need to talk to a mentor to find out what those bold actions are and to help you not trick yourself into not doing them. But that's a whole other conversation. But we really need to talk about courage and taking bold action towards your meaningful revolution, right? All high performing, meaningful revolutions also know what their meaningful, productive outputs are. You know the things you should be working on and focusing on that'll get you results. You know the things that distract you and detract you and prevent you from doing those things. And you have strategies to get you back on track when you fall off, right? Because we're all human. It's not 100% always focused on, all the meaningful things you're doing. You're going to have downtime. You're going to have things thrown at you that life just kind of does. And, it's how you handle that with grace. It's how you are tweaking things so you get better at the things that give you results that ultimately help you achieve your meaningful revolution. And then it's building a reputation and influence in your space. So it could be getting your family on board with your YouTube channel and any career shifts you might make with either to different corporations, different jobs inside an organization, or starting your own thing. Change can be scary for everyone, but having the team that helps support you through that, having people that believe in you, having people that are actively helping you in growing your meaningful revolution is super important. So the 5 things all high performing people and creators work on, it's clarity in their goals, in themselves and their values. It's energy to be able to do the meaningful actions in their space. It's having and taking consistent bold action towards realizing those meaningful revolutions, the things that are meaningful to them. It's about knowing what's productive and what's not, and how to recover if you get thrown sideways. And then it's, having the influence and support and community around you to help grow your meaningful outputs and connect with people. And if you're like, how do I get more clear? Or how do I build more influence? Or how do I take more bold action in my life? Got some good news for you. I have a couple of open slots for strategy sessions where we'll go through these 5 outcomes, identify the ones that you need to be working on, customize a plan for you to go out and make it over the course of an hour. All you have to do is apply in the link in the show notes. And again, if you do this before October 31st of 2024, I have, if you get through the application, we go and have our strategy session. For the cost of shipping, I'll send you a free copy of Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habits. Because I have a couple extra copies of that and I need to clear off my shelf. So my wife still loves me at the end of the day. So all you have to do is, if you again apply, we go through the strategy session, or just applying it scheduled before October 31st. Then I'll send you a link to handle the shipping and we'll get that book out to you, which is cool. But people love this strategy session. And like I said, we will go through and talk about how clear you are, how energetic you are, how much bold action you're taking. We'll talk about your productivity and your influence in that call. And again, build a personalized plan, and people love this. You get a couple of high performance habits that'll help you thrive in your career and on the go. So definitely fill out the application. It should take you about 10 minutes total. And, we'll go from there after you apply. Okay. Now we're going to get into the metaphor, magic, or mishap segment of Meaningful Revolution podcast. And this is where we try to sum up the episode in a metaphor. I do this one shot, kind of what comes to the top of my mind. It's either going to be magic and fit really well, or it's going to be a little rough. And I do this because I think it's fun. So, um, let me know. You could always go to Instagram or Threads and go to at coach underscore Shawn underscore Butner. And let me know what you think of this metaphor. Either again, it's the same on Threads as it is Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. So definitely check that out. And the way that I view the meaningful revolution, it's like the first thing that came to my head is the meaningful revolution is one spin around the globe where you do things that you have in your heart that are meaningful and you make meaningful progress towards it. So it's kind of like um, the way that forests grow. It starts with grass and you're slowly adding things onto it. And maybe you have bushes and then, squirrels come and plant a bunch of tree nuts and then you have a forest. Um, Sometimes there are fires and resets everything, but so it's not a linear thing. It's not something that you're like, I do X, Y, and Z and you're done. It's kind of this organic process that we really, right, that can really sustain an ecosystem of our goals or an ecosystem of life. Uh, Might be more on the mishap side, but that's the metaphor, magic, or mishap of today's episode. What I loved about this episode is you're seeing in real time how I'm working through how to communicate this dang thing, right? Um, I still feel like after talking through this today a couple of times and giving you the best version of it for today's episode, um, that there's so much more here that I have to kind of get clear and figure out so that I can clearly communicate it. But ultimately, what I hope you're taking away from this, and um, through the messiness, right, which I think is great, is that this show aims to help you find more meaning in your life, and it's something that philosophers have talked through tons and tons of times throughout the history of humankind. So I'm sure I'm not going to get it right, but um, the goal is to help you have more meaningful days where a day where you, at the end of it, you're like, wow, this was amazing. I felt really driven. I felt really excited. I felt really fulfilled with my work today versus the days where you're like, the day got away from me and life happened and I'm so freaked out. Right. Um, so I hope that was conveyed in this episode. I really want to and hope you're like, well, I want to be in a community with people that are helping support my meaningful life. Um, and I hope you're also thinking like, I want to do this in a way that uplifts people and is of service. So well, I love that I tried to do that if I didn't accomplish that in this episode, but, honestly, I just loved how messy it was and you guys got to see and peer into the current workings of what this is. And I know as this goes on, because I've committed to figuring this out and to get to a point eventually where there's going to be people who are like, I was on the old version of Meaningful Revolution podcast. I was into it and it was really rough. And Shawn got so much better at doing all this, explaining this for us. So, again, if that's you, I'd love to hear from you. Just do a shout out at Instagram or on Threads. That's in the show notes in case you don't know how to spell my name, which is cool. The underscores make it more complicated. And so we'll see you guys in the next episode of the Meaningful Revolution podcast. And hey, if you love this episode, I'd love for you to share it with one friend you think needs to hear the message today or needs to laugh at the metaphor mishap that just happened. I'm explaining what the Meaningful Revolution is. If you want some more about purpose, you'll see that in the video over here or in the show notes. So be sure to click on that and continue listening. Otherwise, to see you at the strategy session, if that's something you're interested in and having a personalized plan and helping to find your meaningful revolution, helping you find the meaning and connect with it and take bold action towards that meaningful life you know you deserve and should have. So with that, check out that episode. We'll see you guys then. Take care.